Good day, journal. Long ago, and oh so far away. No, I'm not thinking about long ago and oh so far away in the Luther Vandross variety. However, if you can or have ever done it better than Luther. Long ago, and oh so far away, I fell in love with you. Before the second show, and your guitar, and you sound so sweet and clear, but you're not really here. It's just the radio. Don't you remember you told me you love me, baby? You said you'd be coming back this way again. Baby, 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 ooh, oh, baby. I love you. Yeah, I really do. Oh, come back, my friend. Come back immediately. Come back because you undoubtedly got lost in one of Luther Vandross's more iconic songs, Superstar, until you come back to me. Without straying further to another place and time in your mind, could you restate what you were trying to say about long ago and oh so far away? Yes, you wanted to say that long ago and oh so far away you recognized that you were different. You were not yet a superstar, but definitely unlike the masses. Brought to life by the never-ending generosity of the spirit, like all humans. You were socialized very differently by your earthly father. Unbeknownst to you, back when you spoke and acted like a child until a couple of decades ago, when you started to concern yourself with childhood development and eventually humanity propulsion, you realized that your childhood socialization made you different. Not only did your father raise you unknowingly using the Socratic method, but he also grew your brain into a transcendent thinker. During those times when you fretted and complained about the continuing inquiry and the mandate to think deeper about an issue, it turns out that your father's cross-examinations positively affected you. From making you as a first grader consider the pain of suffering of humans through the lens of lightning bugs and grasshoppers you captured and held in a jar, to the challenge to speak up and take action later on in college for the fair and equitable treatment of the least of us. You were his apprentice, clandestinely undergoing training you now know as the origin story of a transcendent thinker. Today surprises no one that you will think about the world and the meaning of life far beyond a surface level. And how you interrogate the human condition sometimes makes folks want to turn the other way when they see you. Hardly anyone wants to have to make their brains work that much. Folks are intellectually lazy, soulfully dishonest, and emotionally exhausted. Nary a person wants to converse with you because it hurts their head. You demand that we do something more than feel some kind of way. You ask us to consider the totality of our humanity, to ensure our words and deeds match. And you remind us that we are only at our best when there is righteous equilibrium in our minds, bodies, and souls. You like to remind folks of the story of the hot stove. A person who puts their hand on a hot stove feels the heat of the stove burning. And then the person must think about what they are experiencing. They must figure out instantaneously that they can't leave their hands on the stove. They must subsequently consider how to treat their hand if they suffer a burn. Feelings are only one part of being human. Thinking is an equally, if not more so important part. Yet thinking is the thing few have an interest in doing. The deeper the thinking required of humans, the fewer humans who appear ready, willing, and able to think deeply. We only want to feel sorry for ourselves, disappointed in others, afraid to try to be our best selves, and feel like we can't possibly do what others say is impossible. we love to feel without thinking. We prefer to act dumb and only feel. But beyond giving people a headache with your endless questioning about daily, what are you doing that makes the great circle of life remarkable? Detail descriptively and emotively, what do you want out of life? Do you recognize how your wealth, privilege, fame, and fortune impinges on another's inalienable God-given rights, leaving them poor, underprivileged, infamous, and unfortunate? Do you understand that your body is a temple on loan from your maker? You must treat it, and it should appear like the Taj Mahal, not Fred Sanford's junkyard. How can anyone be free if any are captive? How owning nobody requires you to consider how you might own another. How will you be better today than yesterday? How will you make sure the planet is better upon your departure than your arrival? How will you prove to the Creator today that you are worthy of a tomorrow? How will you serve the greater good? If the world were perfect, then what? What do you want to be on your tombstone? What were you made for? What will you do for the least of us? Which of the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals are you working to solve? Who are you really in the grand scheme of the universe? Who do you want those whom you love and adore to say you were when you are no more? Who will you help, serve, and ensure they know their lives matter, other than those you love and adore? You ask these and other probing, mentally taxing questions. You interrogate yourself worse than anyone else, even more demanding than your father could cross-examine you. You don't ask of another anything you aren't first willing to do to and for yourself. The unexamined life is not worth living, are words allegedly spoken by Socrates before his death sentence. Those words recorded by Plato are words that guide you daily. Daily, you examine your life. To this day, you still share the examination of life and the meaning of life in public. You write in your journal daily, of course, you still do. Even though you are now a serial best-selling, award-winning author and renowned global public intellectual, you do not shy away from sharing your faults, failings, flaws, and foibles with the world. You also do not fear expressing your thoughts and ideals about how we must be better, all the spirit beings that make up the human species. You examine your life. You examine life out loud in the open, and it often makes folks uncomfortable. For many, when they hear and read your words, especially those who love and adore you, it is like they think you are speaking directly to or about them. Nothing could be less accurate. Of course, people play a role in how you experience the world and how you move through life, but to say you are poking the bear, so to speak, is untrue. You aren't passive aggressive like that. Besides, you aren't afraid of anyone. If you have something to say to someone, you say it to their face. Notwithstanding, you speak from the lens and perspective of the people, places, and things you've experienced. Life and the examination of it comes from the amalgamation of all the people, places, and things, events, and experiences you've encountered on this journey. As the saying goes for anyone triggered by your words, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Do better, be better is another way to understand your words when someone feels triggered. Subsequently, you find yourself receiving invitations to debate or, let's call it, have a conversation with some of the world's biggest thinkers. Usually those conversations begin with you asking those whom you talk to only one primary question. What if you were wrong about your biases? People think they know your politics challenge you. People assign themselves to a color or a spirit animal, meaning those two political parties wearing red or blue, elephant or donkey, confront you. You often discuss the social construct that is race and How your grandmother, who was very fair-skinned, could be deemed by the census as black, while a so-called white woman laying out at the beach as brown as you could receive the American preferential miseducated categorization of white. Yes, you examine life and beseech others to do the same, to investigate our confirmed biases and disprove them. Such is the only way to go through life as you believe and have maintained for a long time. Worthless, after all, paraphrasing Socrates, is the unexamined life. Your life is not worth living if you don't examine it. Please look over your life, as well as the meaning and purpose of life again today. Please only believe something you hear or see in this confirmation bias journey called life, once you first attempt to disprove it.
Reflect and write. Today's journal is filled with questions. Thanks, Nate. I encourage you, listener, to settle in with your favorite journaling device and get ready to do some true introspection. Today is our chance to try out a life as transcendent thinkers. Do the following describe you? Are you intellectually lazy, soulfully dishonest, and emotionally exhausting? I think not. So today, I invite you to think deeply about the subject in which you are an expert. You. Now act. Let's get this thinking started. It is time to examine your life. If the full list seems overwhelming, try the questions in a single category or possibly one question from each category. Don't be lazy, don't be soulfully dishonest, and don't be emotionally exhausting. After all, you only get this one life. Why spend it not living up to who you were created to be? Category 1. Focus on self. What were you made for? Who are you really in the grand scheme of the universe? How will you be better today than yesterday? What do you want to be on your tombstone? What do you want those whom you love and adore to say of you when you are no more? Category 2. Focus on your commitment to the Creator. How will you prove to the Creator today that you are worthy of a tomorrow? Category 3. Focus on your best life. If the world were perfect, then what? And Category 4. Focus on others. How will you make sure the planet is better upon your departure than your arrival? How will you serve the greater good? What will you do for the least of us? Who will you help, serve, and ensure they know their lives matter, other than those you love and adore? And finally, which of the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals are you working to solve? Feel free to Google that one first before you answer if you're uncertain. So now, it's your opportunity to live the life you were created for and to be a transcendent thinker. Now journey forward.